Wow, what happened? Welcome to Grolix Nights, the Grolix Podcast live show. I'm Randy.
Melanie.
And I'm Jesse.
Hey, everybody. We've got a stacked show. Our plate, our cup runneth over.
Yeah, it sure does.
We got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. But first, I want to say, hey, thanks for joining us. And if you're listening to the replay later on Helix Rock Radio, double thank you. You're the true Nights slot right there. You're the true Nights listeners because this airs Monday nights at midnight Eastern time to 1:30. That's what Brandon tells me. Or 11 to 12:30 Central.
Ooh.
But if you're joining us live, you're not yet, but you will be. Hi. Before we get to we got new Doctor Who, we got movies to talk about. Before we get to all that excitement, how are you two doing?
Oh yeah.
I'm good.
Oh yeah.
I was doing the a little bit of audio processing for last week for the replay from last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, God, I talk so much. I mean, in my defense, this is like we're kind of conditioned into our roles on the show at this point, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I talk so much. But then I need to remember things like, how are you two doing? And you're like, doing all right. I'm okay.
Yeah.
We're here. Thursdays can get bent. You know?
That's okay. Though, now that I'm thinking about it, you two, if you guys need to ever take over, just be like, hey, I got a thing to say about this. Take control. I don't mind. Just throwing that out there. It did make me feel bad. I'm like,
Okay.
God, I talk so much. Here's what's on the agenda. I don't know what order we're gonna do this in, and I don't think we should waste too much time on the things we watched. Although, you know what, that'd be a good segue into a couple things that Melanie and I watched that Jesse didn't. So,
Right.
But let's start with Jesse first. What have you been up to? You been doing anything fun? Watching anything interesting? Reading? Eating?
Reading. I have been reading. And by reading I mean audiobooks. And
Sure.
so I listened to a John Green novel. So The Fault in Our Stars guy, that guy. Yeah,
Is it
that's
Fault in Our
not
Stars?
Grolix. Yeah, The Fault in Our Stars. Yeah.
Okay.
But I didn't read that one. I read Looking for Alaska, and it was really good. It was narrated by Will Wheaton, who I am already a fan of. And yeah, I usually listen to my audiobooks when I'm ready to go to bed, and it kept me up. Like I was compelled. So it did the opposite of what my audiobook at night is supposed to do. But I enjoyed it. So
Nice.
yeah.
Real quick shout out. Hey, Chicago Faucet. We just got started. You're actually not here at the end for once.
Right at the top.
Right
Love
at
it.
the top. Amazing. So what is this, Jesse? What is this story about? It's not the normal Grolix fare.
No, not at all. You know, and Fault in Our Stars, I believe, is about cancer or something. I've never actually watched that movie or read that book, but I saw this one. And I saw that Will Wheaton narrated it, and I've been a fan of his narration on audiobooks for a while. And he usually picks good ones, for him, right? And it suited him well. It's about this kid that goes to boarding school and makes new friends there and whatnot, and just a coming of age story, and all these pranks that they would do at this boarding school, and then in typical John Green fashion, someone dies horribly, and they have to pick up the pieces of their lives in spite of it. Yeah,
Uplifting.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I know those stories can be uplifting, but I'd rather avoid the tragedy that you have to uplift yourself from than
Yeah.
whatever.
Oddly compelling though. It's just about
Yeah.
these kids who get together in the woods and drink when they're not supposed to, and smoke, and then they're always evading the guy that's gonna bust them, and his nickname is the Eagle, and yeah,
Mhm.
The
I don't know.
eagle.
Okay.
It was fun and dumb and not even remotely my usual, but I was like, wow, I
Mhm.
really burned through it. Like I burned through it in less than a day. And usually it takes me a couple days to read even the short books. So
It makes me think of Toy Soldiers, which Will Wheaton was also in.
he was. That's true.
Hmm.
He gravitates towards a certain thing, huh? It's either sci-fi or like tragic coming of age stories.
Yeah, yeah, weird. Weird that he'd be
Yeah.
interested in either one of those two things,
Hmm.
Right, right.
considering
It's
that's his
almost
life. His life was
yeah,
a tragic coming of age story in sci-fi.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
you're right. Yeah. Um well, hey, we'll go ahead and jump on something we watched this week. We won't do spoilers, Melanie. We won't do spoilers, and
Okay.
we won't dive too far into it. Savannah. I mean, I appreciate that you're here.
Yeah, well, of
Okay, so
course. Twitch
Savannah
coming in
said,
hot tonight. What's up, Twitch?
I was thinking about what Chicago Fawcett asked us last week about how we only have X amount of viewers for being 10 years, going 10 years. Maybe we should focus more on Twitch. I don't know. I just assumed when we started streaming, the audience I knew we have, they are not on Twitch. I mean, Savannah's
Oh
over
yeah.
there now, but generally they're on like Facebook. So,
But Twitch
um,
has
Yeah.
become a place that embraces more than just video game streaming
right,
lately, it
Hmm.
seems.
right. Okay, well, she's gonna blame some drama. Uh, I didn't even know TYT was on Twitch. Um,
Oh yeah.
okay, well, anyway, Melanie and I watched Lisa Frankenstein because of
Oh,
Savannah, and
Hmm.
she didn't even watch it.
and I didn't even
So
watch it.
Jesse didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it. I'm going
Well,
to, but I didn't.
oh, if you are going to, we can wait on our discussion of that. We don't have to do that tonight. If
Yeah, yeah, I'm still game to watch it. I can watch it for next week.
Savannah,
We'll
you
have
still
that
down to
and
watch it?
Doctor Who.
You still, yeah, you still to watch it? Okay, okay. Well, Melanie and I will hold off on our Lisa Frankenstein thoughts. Then
Yeah.
Let's do it.
we'll hold
Should we
that
do
back for
our Should we
later.
do our other movie?
Yeah, let's do Furiosa. Is that what you're talking about?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. We went and seen Furiosa because I really wanted to make sure to see it in the theaters while it was still playing. And famously, it's, you know, hasn't been doing great in the theaters, but, I don't think that has much to do with the movie. That's just theaters.
Hmm.
Um, I'll let Melanie go first. Melanie, what did you think of Furiosa? A Mad
Um.
Max saga. Sorry.
Okay. Well, first of all, I wasn't. I liked. I liked the. Not Thunder Road.
Fury Road?
Fury Road. I liked Fury Road a lot. I didn't expect this to be as good, but I was hoping it wasn't crap. And I was right. It wasn't as good, but it was not crap at all. It was still a decent movie, just not as good as Fury Road. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, 100% I agree. It's hard to avoid the comparison because this is in a franchise that is famously like canon doesn't matter. Like if you watch the original trilogy, like there's not, even though it's Max, it's Mel Gibson, Mad Max in each of them. They're different. They seem like different characters to a point. Like there's just no real continuity to it. This is a
Hmm.
direct prequel to Fury Road. Same characters, there's been some recasting, but same characters, same like world, a very specific kind of more modern version of Mad Max world that he's got, you know, outlined or whatever. Right. Okay, shouldn't it be like a Fury Road saga? Um
Like, is
I'm not
that?
gonna.
Do we just call it the Mad Max world? Is that what we call it now?
Well,
Like,
wasn't it?
Yeah.
I thought it was Mad Max Fury
yeah,
Road, wasn't it?
it's
Well,
his
the
world. We're
first.
just living in it, or not? If you're in the Thunderdome, because one man leaves.
Mm-hmm. And Thunder taints all of my opinions of it. I'm like, Thunder Road,
Yeah,
Thunder Cats, Thunder everything.
I want
It's
Thundercats on Thunder Road.
it's so funny because Thunderdome is like definitely has some
Oh,
of the most
you are one
memorable
thunder
stuff.
away from a hoe.
Thunderdome has like some of the most memorable stuff in the original trilogy, but it is hands down the worst of the three. It's
Master
such like
Blaster.
it's got such cool stuff, right? And Tina
Yeah,
Turner's in
yeah.
it.
Oh
Everything
yeah.
Thunderdome is pretty cool. The kids, it just becomes it's so terrible. It like it has some bad things in it, but it's got some cool stuff. Uh,
But it's also
Savannah
the one
said
they
she's
played the most on TV.
that's true. It's the most. It felt the most studio, which is also
Mm-hmm.
why, like, it felt the most like a studio film, which is and kind of mainstream friendly, which is also why it happened to probably be the one that got played on TV the most. It was somewhat kids friendly as far as Mad Max films go. Savannah said she's seen a theory that Tom Hardy, or the Fury Road Mad Max, was the kid in the originals grown up calling himself Max. That's interesting.
Didn't that kid die?
I
Or
don't
just
recall.
disappeared?
Which one? I mean, there's been like,
Well, Mad Max is just the Punisher with a car, right?
mm-hmm, basically.
Right.
Well, Fury Road, and this does it as well, is like these are legends. Legends aren't necessarily always accurate, or their continuity doesn't always make 100% sense. But doubling back to what I was saying, speaking of continuity, lots of continuity between this and Fury Road. And it's hard to not compare them. This has the Fury Road aesthetic still to a T, um, and that's fine. The
Is it
only
the
issue,
like origin of the settlement itself, or is it like the settlement's been involved, like it's been established, and it's just another tale of this place?
yeah, I mean, it is absolutely another tale of this place. Um,
It's basically telling how Furiosa came to be there and part of it all, right?
yeah, it's totally her. It's her whole her origin story. Um,
Yeah.
but it's Fury Road is a masterpiece. It's an action masterpiece. It's so good. So I feel like there's no way this was quite gonna match that. But also, I think it's smart to not try to do the same thing. They're telling an
Mm-hmm.
origin story. It's a revenge. It's like they're going for revenge epic over the course of like many years, as opposed to one long car chase there and back, which was what Fury Road was. Um,
Mm-hmm.
let's see.
Also, um, oh, just never mind. I forgot it.
Okay. Chicago Fawcett. So they thought the same thing as Savannah. They thought that Tom Hardy was like Mad Max's son, or just another Mad Max in another universe. But someone pointed out that he has the same name, Max Rock Tank. Is it Rock Tankowski? Rock Tankowski is his name. I don't think I ever realized
It's the
that.
most Australian name they know.
Yeah, I always assumed it was just Mad Max. It was the character. Um, but like perfect examples. Watch the first Mad Max and then the Road Warrior. Which wait, the Road Warrior was the second one, right?
I think
Getting
so. Pretty sure Mad Max is the first one.
the world feels distinctly different between those two movies. Like
Oh
continuity
yeah.
early
Yeah.
on, that wasn't a big issue. Um, yeah, Rock Tank with a little Polish at the end. Um, anyway, I will say I liked here's my condensed thing. I liked Furiosa a lot. I thought it was solid. I think it's one of the best entries in the franchise. I think it's really good. Anna Taylor-Joy did great. She absolutely was doing a Charlize. Melanie asked about her voice. I was like, did they like overdub her with Charlize Theron? She was absolutely doing a Charlize Theron like impression, which is interesting. She does have weird eyes. She has distinctive eyes. Something interesting I've heard since watching it is, so it starts off and she's very young, and they have a different actress for like younger her, preteen, whatever, preteen her, I guess. And the way they segue into it being Anna Taylor-Joy as she gets older is apparently as the movie goes, they digitally kind of altered the young her's face to kind of slowly morph towards Anna Taylor-Joy's face, and that's kind
Why
of
didn't they just give her
fascinating to me.
glasses?
Just
Just give her big glasses, yeah, and make her dress frumpy and give up. Just do that. That's the 73 yards approach, and I'm sticking to it.
Right, you're right. You're right. As she aged, she just did bigger and bigger glasses. That's what people do when they get older. Anyway, let's move on from Furiosa. It's good. I think it's really good. If you liked Fury Road, don't expect Fury Road exactly, but you should definitely go see it.
How about
Although you do get a Fury Road at the end because they have to, I guess.
Oh yeah.
There's a weird decision during the credits to like highlight reel of moments from Fury Road, which is a strange choice, but hey, the microphone's volumes are pretty different. God, are they? Who's okay? Chicago Faucet.
StreamYard.
Help me out. We struggle with this. StreamYard is awful about this. You hear that, StreamYard? We don't have to pimp
You
you
can't
anymore.
buy our love anymore.
Nope.
This is just us.
Who's loudest? Who's quietest? Help me out.
I can guess.
I'm probably the loudest.
Yeah.
Traditionally,
Yo, I'm always loud. I am loud.
Woo.
His is
That
always
is
loud.
not surprising. Nope.
I'm gonna turn him down.
Turn me down.
It's always Jesse, me, Melanie. Melanie's like a mouse. A mouse.
Me?
Yeah. That's how the volume ends up coming out. I think you
Tale
sound
of
fine right now.
Despero. That's you.
Okay.
You're a
I
mouse
tried
with
to
a
sit
sword.
closer. Cool.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
So enough with Furiosa. Let's talk about what we came here to talk about.
Well, we came here to talk about Lisa
Yeah.
Frankenstein.
Fast and Furiosa.
No, we did come here to. Do we want to do? We also have Godzilla Minus One. Do we want to do Godzilla
yeah.
or Doctor Who?
We have to do Godzilla first. Because
Okay.
Doctor Who is the, repeating thing.
Thank you, Chicago Faucet. By the way, nobody ever. We know like this has been an ongoing struggle. The volume differences with StreamYard for at least 3 years now. Listeners never comment on it, and I don't have a good way to like monitor it after we go live, unless I want to like go live and then disappear for several minutes while I listen to the live stream. I don't know.
Because we all just sound about the same to each other, I think.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
we figured that out before we start. But that's not how it comes across on the stream itself.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago Faucet says George Miller just kind of shrugs off any questions of the lack of continuity between the Mad Max movies, and no one, including myself, seems to care. Yeah. It's just like a given. It's like, it doesn't matter. Which is interesting that Furiosa is such a like with Fury Road specifically is so consistent. And in fact, there's characters in Furiosa that did not pop up in Fury Road, but were also in the 2015 Mad Max video game because they were working from notes and stuff from Miller before Fury Road was even made. Miller had this and Fury Road, I think originally was going to be like one big project.
Maybe Mad Max is like the Dread Pirate Roberts, you know?
Sure. Okay. Oh no, there goes Tokyo. Go Godzilla. Let's talk about Godzilla Minus One.
Yeah.
You like my Blue Oyster Cult segue? People don't talk about that song enough, and they really need to.
Should they?
This is the hard hitting issue I want to take on. Dedicate my life to getting more recognition for the Blue Oyster Cult Godzilla song.
Man, it's a weird flex, but okay.
um,
Godzilla Minus One.
Godzilla Minus One. No, it's okay, Chicago Faucet. Godzilla Minus... The audio replay of this is going to be a mess.
Oh yeah, because we will refer to like comments that
I
no one
almost
can
always
see.
try to read the comment out loud that we're referring to, but sometimes, it's fine. So Godzilla Minus One hit Netflix. It had been announced that it was going to be on Netflix in other countries, but there was no like US Netflix release announced ever. They just dropped it, which seems like a pretty big property to just be like, oh yeah, here, boom.
Same day as everybody else got it too. Like I saw the Fandango at Home Voodoo like solicits for it like right before I saw that it was on Netflix, and so I'm glad that like those solicits came out pretty fast, because otherwise I would have bought this thing. Which is fine. Like of all the ones that I could buy.
I was about to say, how dare you?
Like, yeah. Because I own at least the first two of the new Godzillas, and it's like, have I watched them a lot? No, I have not.
You're sensing. Chicago Fawcett says, "I'm sensing some sour grapes from the creators of the '99 American Godzilla."
Well, they were just lucky to get the keys to the sandbox. Really, I don't know how
they didn't even play with the right toys.
Right, like
We're gonna make
them look
to the sandbox
different.
And, like, I'm gonna make my own toy. It's gonna be way
make
cooler.
it look different. He looked like more like a dinosaur. I did think it was interesting that they made it like they described him as a kind of dinosaur looking in this, but he does kind of look dinosaur like.
He's got stubby arms, and especially that first scene where he appears in this.
Yeah, he moves a lot more dino like.
Yeah. Yes. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm not a giant Godzilla fan, so there's lots of things I didn't know. Like, I think I might have known that he lights up a little bit occasionally, but I didn't know that his spikes were supposed to like pop up when he did that.
I think that was new. Wasn't that
Was
new?
it? Okay.
It felt like I mean, like I think the Mechagodzilla does that in like the new one, but like the fact that he has extendo spikes, I don't remember that happening.
See, Chicago Fawcett, this is the problem I have with Twitch. Spam comments, and I'm not good at
the mecha commenters.
Mecha commentary.
But for a Godzilla movie, there wasn't all that much Godzilla, and I was okay with that.
That's what everybody's saying about this is like the biggest complaint we've had for years about the new Godzillas was like, oh, all the humans, I just want to see monsters fighting all the time. And in this one, it was like, oh, but this story's really good. Oh, no, we don't. Godzilla, I want to know more about this guy. He's got his head's wrapped up. He's sad. Like that dude was sad. Like I even posted in our chat before recording that this was like Crisis on Infinite Earths, and that poor schmo is like Pariah, whose existence was just cursed to see all the other universes die in the DC comics. Like that. I don't know. It's now iconic that crossover. Crisis on Infinite Earths. And that's what this reminded me of, is like, this dude is just cursed to see everyone die at the hands of Godzilla.
Yeah.
No, what did I do?
I don't know. What did you do?
I'm fine. I hate Twitch. I hate the Twitch moderation tools. It's such a pain. That's my problem. That's why we're not big on Twitch, because I get PO'd every time I get spam because I'm struggling over here. I'm on the struggle bus. What were you guys saying?
Uh, we were talking about how great Godzilla Minus One is.
I said it was Crisis on Infinite Godzillas. That poor bastard. I don't know if that's a swear. That poor guy. He's just doomed to watch Godzilla kill everyone over and over
Yeah.
and over.
Rumble. There's some unsavory characters over there.
We'd be a couple of them if we were there.
So yeah, Godzilla. I'd heard this was going to be great. I heard this was great. They got nothing but good reviews, but it had a very small release over here and maybe over there. And then yeah, I was like, when is this coming out? And there wasn't information for a long time, and now it's on Netflix, and we're talking about it. Now I'm caught up to the conversation. This was so I watched this, and it kind of blew me away. This was great. I loved this, and I was like, Melanie might actually like this. Like, it might be, and you know, as she said, she doesn't care that much for Godzilla. And it is a Godzilla movie. It does the Godzilla things it needs to. It does man, when it finally goes to like Godzilla in a city, I kind of love that it went
Yeah.
like old school Godzilla movie. They bring in the song, the theme,
Yeah, the theme.
and I couldn't help but smile until the movie's like, no, you're gonna cry. This isn't fun. This isn't a fun time.
Yeah.
Because it came up to like the most tragic scene of the movie. But that's what's kind of super interesting is it's Godzilla, but it's more about the trauma of war,
Yeah.
PTSD, and also
Isn't that
like
kind of
yeah, just
isn't Godzilla supposed to be about the trauma of war? Kind of.
well, yeah. I mean, it's the whole like the bombs and all that. Like it's always been
Yeah.
at least in like essentially is a commentary.
But it was like the allegory was less on the nose in the past. It was just like, these are the horrors of war manifested in the monster. And in this one, it was like, no, this is the horrors of war manifested in the men.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point. I mean, and you know, the franchise also is like, this is the horrors of war manifested in a monster and space aliens and time travel and sci-fi soldiers.
yeah.
Like they get so the Japanese movies get so out there sometimes.
From Planet X.
This was also like compared to definitely anything we'd produce over here, any of the Godzilla related movies or similar type movies here. This was, I guess, considered like a low budget. It's 15 million, which is still 15 million, but given it's a, you know, Godzilla movie, heavy use of CG, not just in the Godzilla stuff, but obviously in just it's a period piece. Heavy use of CG. It's a monster movie. It got nominated for an Oscar for visual effects, and they did it on $15 million and a VFX team of like, I think 35 people, which is a good
really
amount.
good
Maybe that's
considering
not.
that,
That's
maybe
crazy.
that's high even.
And they have a lot of water stuff too, and that's not cheap.
Yeah. It's got like
Throws a boat through the air
it's got
into the
Jaws.
city.
It goes Jaws at several times. Like you got a little bit of Jaws in there. The evolution of Godzilla, which is super interesting because he does start out small, but then we also get snippets of like what I'm assuming is some of the earlier movies, like where it's just like, oh, a bomb went off and there's Godzilla. Like you get just a cutaway to that, and it's just kind of like, oh yeah, he's still out there. There's things happening with him, but now let's go back to the story we're actually telling.
And he regenerates now.
I'm thinking maybe that's the regeneration was always his thing, because some lizards do that kind of stuff, and then it's the bomb that gave him his shooty powers. That's what I think happened.
Yeah. Man, that atomic breath too was just like, the effects of it, where it just
Mm-hmm.
like reverberated and whatnot. It's like somebody watch Oppenheimer.
Right. Oh, the explosion. It was, yeah, so cool. Um, and weirdly, and I don't know what it is, the effects look better to me on the rewatch. Because the first time, like some of the effects, all the effects are pretty good, but you're like, okay, I know some of the telltale tricks and stuff, and like it's a little bit, it's not like, you know, VFX YouTube 10 years ago, but some of it's like, feels like effects that stemmed from that school of like thought, right? But on the rewatch, maybe it was just I was already sold on it. I was in it. It didn't matter. It looked better. I didn't question it at all. Um,
The only thing I questioned in the whole movie was some guy's mouth looked like a mustache until he opened his mouth, and I was like, "How did that happen?"
yeah, there was a guy in the background. She made me run it back. And yeah, because he's just some guy in the background. He enters the scene and like it looks like he's got a dark mustache, and then it opens it's his mouth and she, she would
Yeah,
go.
like he's got a dread lip like nobody's ever
Yeah,
seen.
yeah, that's what it was.
The Sam Eagle thing, like puppet mouth.
Uh, yeah, okay. I don't know. I know there's more to be said, but I am apparently far too scatterbrained to keep my stuff together tonight.
I don't know
And we
if
don't
this
want to give
has
away
any.
too much of it. Sorry.
Right.
Oh
Go
no,
ahead.
you're good. I don't know if this has any connection to it because I know like Godzilla's kind of almost a puppet, right? Like I did watch the new not Netflix Disney Plus documentary on um, Jim Henson, and that was interesting.
Oh. What about like his entire life?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
pretty good. Now I heard that there's a better docu series about it on YouTube. I can't remember what it's called, but this did seem a little. It's a Ron Howard documentary, so with Ron Howard, I always feel like he's giving us the happy days. See
Mm-hmm.
what I did there?
I did.
Chicago Fawcett. It's. I'm not familiar with Dan Monroe. Um, and it's not gonna let your the link through, but I looked up his YouTube channel just now.
It sounds
You
like
know, I
I've
think I
heard
have seen
that
some of
name
this guy's
before.
videos.
Yeah, I've heard that name.
I mean, this is 100% up my alley. This is totally the stuff I watch on YouTube, though. I'm not super familiar with him off the top of my head, but he does look familiar. Um, but I'm gonna check it out. The Grawlix universe, by the way, I guess it's not the same, but we might be aware of a Grawlix cinematic universe. Check that out. Grawlixpodcast.com. GRAWLIX podcast.com. Um,
There's not a banner about it behind your head or anything.
oh, right. Get that slightly blurred. There we go.
There you go.
So are we moving on to who?
Yeah. Yeah.
We are
not
just burning
mind.
through it. We're just
No,
burning through it tonight,
I
man.
don't know what's happening tonight.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm all fueled up with nowhere to go. Got no direction.
Well, that sounds like a furious road to be
Yeah.
on. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
We're halfway
Chris
to Bullet
Hemsworth.
Town now. Oh yeah,
Chris
that's what I
Hemsworth.
wanted to hear. Yeah. Is he good?
Interesting. His character. I mean, I'll go into it a little bit. I don't want to give spoilers. He seems like he's going to be kind of when he's introduced. He seems like he's going to give him a prosthetic nose. Like if you've seen the trailer, you've seen it. It's very strange, but he seems like he's going to be like a stoic kind of villain, like in Morton Joe in the first scene that he's in. No, that goes away real quick. The dude's like kind of a buffoon, and it's interesting that he. I don't feel like it's necessarily a big spoiler. He's kind of the big bad of the movie, and it's an interesting villain to where he's definitely evil, but he doesn't necessarily act sinister all the time. He's just kind of like it's hard to take him seriously until he does some evil stuff, right?
Oh,
Uh,
Right.
Pretty interesting character. Not what I was expecting for sure.
Yeah.
well, this is like
He's
his
very.
main bad guy run, right? I mean, like I can't think of a single thing he's been in where he hasn't been the good guy.
Right.
Mhm. Well, he's a very whimsical bad guy.
Like a Batman villain.
Yeah, kind of.
Maybe he's played things light, kind of like lighthearted in the past, but I feel like, and I never seen the Ghostbusters, whatever the Ghostbusters reboot attempt or whatever,
Yeah.
or whatever it was. I never watched it, but from what I understand, he's in it, and it's a comedic role, of course.
Yeah.
I feel like he's the Janine, maybe. Um,
Yes.
and I think after that, people were like, "Oh, this guy could be funny," and then they made Thor funny,
Right.
and maybe he just didn't get cast in those type of roles. But I feel like since then, he brings kind of a comedic whimsy to every performance I've seen him in, uh, even if he's the villain. But anyway,
Hmm.
wasn't he?
He was like
Was
in
he in
Men in
a?
Black or something. I don't know.
Okay, he was in some. Chicago Fawcett says he was in some other tongue-in-cheek roles. Okay, he's good at it. I really like him at it. Not famously, I. It's no secret that I did not care for the first two Thor movies, but Ragnarok is amazing. So, uh, I think he's great in that kind of performance. Doctor Who, Dot and Bubble.
Dot and Bubble.
Hmm.
I'm
Which,
curious
by
what
the
you
way,
guys
real
thought
quick,
about this because, like, the internet has plenty to say about it, and it's not very positive. But really, I thought it was pretty good.
really,
Hmm.
well, I mean, I've seen a couple negative things on, I guess, social media, but I haven't seen a lot of super critical stuff of it. And before I had watched it, because we usually wait till like Sunday nights, Melanie's usually busy over the weekend. Um, I had seen very positive headlines about it.
Hmm.
One headline overhyped it a little bit for me. It was like, "This is the best episode so far of the season." I'm like, "Did you not watch Boom and Yard in 73 or
All
72
right. Yeah.
yards or whatever? If this is the best one, I'm hyped for it." And
Right.
in my opinion, it's not. It's not the best
No,
one.
no. Yeah, my expectations were very low. In fact, I didn't like the look of it. I was like, this
Oh yeah,
looks
no,
weird. This
no.
looks
That's
dumb. Yeah.
when when Melanie and I watched 72, 73 yards. I'm gonna get that wrong every time. 73 yards, and they have the coming up. I
Mhm.
distinctly remember being like, "That looks bad." For the preview
Yeah.
for
Oh,
this.
there's the dumb one. We were due for a
Yeah.
dumb one.
I don't think it's bad. I don't
No.
think it's. I don't think it's. It's definitely not like the worst of the season or anything. I agree. I still don't really like the look of it. It makes sense. It's interesting. I guess
Yeah.
it's a specific vision. um,
Hmm.
but this is kind of how I mentally rank or rate Doctor Who episodes now. Is upon a rewatch, am I going to enjoy rewatching this one, or am I going to skip it, or is this one I'm going to make a point to rewatch, even if I'm not doing a like full season rewatch? That's how I view. That's how I rate Doctor Who in my head now. Um, I might skip this one, not because it's bad, just because it's like,
Hmm.
I like what it's doing, but I don't necessarily enjoy watching what it's doing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because it's like it's subverting something, like it's annoying on purpose. Like
Yeah,
I don't think you're supposed to like this gal, and you
no,
don't.
Hmm.
And I
No.
was like, man, I don't know, like it's not my favorite thing, but whatever it's doing it well. Like I am having a visceral reaction to it.
And like the only character that is likable, really, they or
spoilers.
not the only one. Yeah, I'm sorry. The likable characters they get rid of. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Like there's a guy that we don't get to know very much, but he's trying to, warn everybody the whole time. Seems like a decent fella. Um he's gone. And then the like hero really of the episode even.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's interesting, and this just occurred to me. It's a commentary episode, like commentary heavy
Yeah.
episode. It's about never unplugging. It's about being too plugged in, terminally online, and it's also, of course, about spoilers. It's about racism, and
Mhm.
this could almost be, and it's so on the nose. I could see a Chibnall era story doing this exact thing and somehow still messing it up. I don't know how, but like
Right, right.
it's interesting
Yeah.
because this feels it's such like that's its driving purpose is it's the commentary, but it doesn't fail like I would think. Like we used to complain a lot about a lot of Chibnall stuff. It doesn't fail in the way that those did for whatever reason. I guess it's not the doctor staring down the camera at the end and being like because racism,
Yeah.
but
Right. Yeah.
um,
I don't even, like, I don't even know if, wow, no, Peter Capaldi could pull off so much. But I don't even know that I would have given this story to Peter Capaldi. I think that this was the doctor for it. Like if this
oh
was
yeah,
going to succeed, it's going to succeed because of who the doctor is.
Yeah.
And Chudy was perfect for it.
Mhm. Um the I don't know, what bad guys, I guess. But even everybody was kind of a bad guy, but
the
I
slug
didn't
things.
yeah, I didn't care for I mean not I mean they could be gross or whatever, but the like they didn't get too much into their background, but like the alphabetical thing, that was stupid and made no sense to me. Like
Oh yeah,
they have to go off a list or something? I don't it's dumb. I didn't like that bit.
yeah. In my mind, I split this. I split this episode into two specific things: the majority of the episode, and then the end reveal of like these people are just horribly racist. And
Yeah.
that is awesome. I think the end is great. I think it works well. Uh,
Mhm.
15's performance is amazing. It's so good. He, dude, there's so much spit and slobber that flies out of his mouth when he like erupts and turns around that he could have like soaked his co-star. It was crazy. Um, the technology stuff I appreciate, and that's where a lot of the like I've seen headlines about it's like a family-friendly Black Mirror episode. It's like Black Mirror is what I kept hearing,
Yeah.
and I get that, but like I guess in typical Doctor Who fashion, it's so over the top where she can't even walk without being told how to walk,
Right.
where to
Yeah.
Right.
like
That
when she
was a
takes it
little, and
off.
then later she can run. Well, I mean, like it was a little
Yes.
bit
Right.
of a like, okay, come on.
Like
Right.
I get the point. Like I get it. I get the message. Grandpa, I get what you're trying to say, but man, it's so over the top to where she can't even just walk. And if it was a matter of like she always has the bubble on and it's got the spinning things and that like throws her off when she doesn't have it, but I don't even think they thought about it like that. It was just like no, if they're not told to walk straight, they don't know how to do it. That's silly. The
Yeah.
slug monsters, like the idea of like the way they slowly devoured people was kind of horrific, but they're
Right.
also silly looking. And but I think that kind of fits into the aesthetic of that like fun
Yeah.
time place or whatever they called it.
Mhm.
Uh, and then yeah,
Fine
the
time or
reveal that
fine line or something. Oh, it's a fine line. Ooh.
the
Eh.
reveal that yeah, the alphabetical order, and it was the dots that were that's weird.
Yeah. I agree. That they I don't think that they should have done the alphabetical order thing for one. And I also was thinking why don't they should have stuck with the she can't walk without the thing on because she doesn't. I like your swirly making them lose balance thing. And then they just walked them into the creatures. That that would make so much more sense. You know what I mean? Like they would have to fight against their programming to be able to get away from the things because the things are trying to steer them to them. Something like that would make sense
Right.
to me. But
Right.
what the
But then,
this big wraparound convoluted crap doesn't make any sense.
Right.
yeah.
I get a computer would think alphabetically, but like, yeah, you're right. It doesn't
But then
make a lot of
why wasn't were the spoilers? Why weren't the dots just killing people? Like, why create another thing outside to
Yeah,
do the
exactly.
killing? And we're like, oh, I'm mad that I am a slave to these vapid people. So now I'm an AI that's going to kill you.
Just like walk them into an empty elevator shaft or something, you know?
Yeah, it'd be so easy.
Yeah.
It'd be so
Yeah.
easy. Yeah, it's weird. It's for the sake of the story to have a
Yeah.
monster.
Right.
Yeah. I did like the homeworld reveal. That was interesting.
I loved the image, the still, the painting, the whatever the mock up they did to display that like everyone's dead on the homeworld because the guy pulls it up and it says population 0, but it looks like it's like if somebody ran like you'll see the AI posts where it's like Futurama in real life or whatever. That's what it looked like. It looked like a slug just chilling on top of a building. It was like Bat Slug. Like it was
It's
such a
Bat
like
Slug.
just
He's up there with the
stylized
gargoyles.
shot.
Yeah.
And I laughed.
I'm just
when
waiting
that
for
popped up,
Commissioner Slug to put the slug signal up on the moon.
I laughed so hard when that popped up. It just looks so funny to me. And it's
They
also
even
like
had Disney money.
right. We got Bat Slug.
Yeah, Disney money, and this is what we got. All right.
And it just said population 0. I'm like, why would it pull up a camera of some random bat slug and population 0? And
Population
but
U.
that's not important. They just need to convey the information, I guess.
Yeah.
I also had some inkling that race. This was, I guess, kind of a spoiler thing for me a little bit, in that I had some inclination that race was going to play a game, play into it because I'd seen a post on Threads or something. Somebody said they'd noticed the microtransactions, microaggressions towards the doctor from the main character, but were still surprised when it went like they alluded to something about, but it makes sense with the end or something. So I was like, oh, okay, the racism's going to play into this. And speaking of, I think it's very interesting because I've seen YouTube skits about this already, and it's been talked about in the past. Traveling with, black companions, or, you actually have a black doctor. You'd expect if they're gonna approach the racism thing, which they've done a little bit in the past. I think they've hit on the sexism thing more when they travel to like Earth Past, but you'd expect them to travel to Earth Past at some point. Well, I mean, Chibnall era, I guess, did a huge thing with racism, so they've already done it. But it's interesting that with this doctor, they go to do it, they opted to not go back to Earth Past. They went to some like other planet that seems very futuristic, and then did the racism story. I think that's interesting. I'm sorry, that was a long way to say a few words.
No, it is. I agree, and I like it, and I feel like it was a good decision because they're because of the way that the thing is set up. It's like if we keep going the way we're going, this is how we're going to end up, and it's not just the one with the technology; it's with people's attitudes too. Some people's attitudes, I should say.
Yeah, they got a lot mixed in there because it's also it's not just that they're like a bunch of white kids quote unquote, because I think they're supposed to be like college age. It's that they're very privileged white kids. They're rich
Yeah,
white
right.
kids
Yeah.
who are essentially on like a special vacation planet or whatever.
And if you don't get it, you're stupid.
Right. Oh yeah, she does that, says that a lot.
Yeah.
It's not a vacation planet though. It's their version of a job, which is what,
They
like 2 hours of work.
2 hours, yeah, and then they
2 hours.
party.
Yeah. Was it 2 hours a day?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Because I know that's when they charge their dots, which seems inefficient, but I guess that would also be like motivation to go to work. Like,
Hmm.
oh, you want to charge your dot?
Yeah. And just think, if she wouldn't have recharged her dot, things would have been fine
Right. Right.
for
right.
yeah.
It's interesting. I'd really be curious to know what aspect of the story came together first for whoever conceived of it. Uh, if it was like the racism angle, or just the technology thing, or the slugs. Like I feel like that all the elements come together pretty well, but they're very distinct, different ideas combined together. And I'm just curious as to like what the process of order was for how it
I
came
bet it
together.
was. And Chudy's not going to be here. We can only have him in this for a little bit, and most of it's we're just gonna have to like it's gonna be like FaceTime without anybody else there because we can't coordinate schedules. So how can we work that in? And then this is what they came up with.
That was a frustration of mine. Is I was like, ooh, two Doctor Light episodes in a row, and it's not as Doctor Light, but it's definitely Doctor Light. It's clearly like, you know, the Doctor and Ruby knock out most of the episode filming in like an hour, two tops in a studio.
Right.
Easy. They're sitting in front of a camera with a green screen or something. So it does feel like it was a Doctor Light episode. Even Blink, they'd have, think about Blink. Blink does almost the same thing where Tennant's there beginning and a little bit, but like otherwise it's just him sitting in front of a camera to record the little VHS tapes or whatever.
Right.
Um, so I was a little annoyed because we only get 8 episodes of this season. I want to see the new Doctor, and I am thankfully it's a Doctor that is interesting. RTD's good at that, and the acting's been great. I want to see him deal with more things, but the end scene did not disappoint in that regards. So I guess if it's going to be Doctor Light, at least make it like pack some punch in the scene he's in. And they did.
Yeah, make some spit go flying.
Right.
So good. It's so good. I'm okay. I might rewatch it, but I'll jump to the end for his speech. For his not his. He doesn't even have a speech. His reaction when he
Right.
just can't get them to follow him. Good.
Yep.
Yeah. Still
That's a
better
good-
than singing goblins, though. You know.
Hmm.
Right. Right. It's not the worst episode of the season, in my opinion.
No.
I agree.
Hmm. But
And
it's
it
not
had-
the most amazing, huh?
No. It's amazing that they put this one on after 73 yards. But what else
Yeah.
is amazing? I wonder.
I'll tell you what else is amazing. Hold on just a second. Steve. Steve is
Steve?
amazing.
Like MySpace Steve?
No,
Oh, no, it's
Um,
Tom. Minecraft Steve.
no. This is a different Steve, and it turns out that he has a secret twin. Um, Okay, so
Minecraft Steve is actually his secret twin. I've already figured it out. That is amazing.
No. Okay,
No.
so by now, most people are familiar with the Aurora Borealis, or Northern or Southern Lights, depending on which side of the world you live on. But there is a less known purple band that is in this. Oh, sorry, I gotta turn this. Sorry. Okay. A purple ribbon of light that appears before midnight and flows from east to west. The strong thermal emission velocity enhancement, or STEVE, Was discovered in 2016 by Aurora watchers, and then confirmed by scientists to be a band of gases. That's 5,400 degrees Fahrenheit or 3,000 Celsius. That moves at a faster pace than the surrounding air and causes that coloration. But recently, a Norwegian photographer noticed a similar purple streak in the pre-dawn hours near the Arctic Circle. And he sent that in, and researchers used swarm satellites, uh, or the data from swarm satellites, I should say, to confirm. And indeed, Steve has a morning twin that flows in the opposite direction, but also creates a purple band in the sky. Um, there hasn't been any news yet on what they're going to name it, though, but I'm excited to find out. And that's it.
Purple haze. That's what they need to name
Yeah.
it. Steve.
I was trying to
Yeah,
combine
love-
Steve and purple. Sorry, I was trying to I was trying to combine Steve and purple in my head for a name. All I got was perv.
Sturple.
Sturple. Sturple
Okay.
haze.
I love the way that people have been, or scientists, and I guess people in general, have been naming scientific things. Like there's the first like submersible that they built for just exploring the like trenches and stuff. Uh, they let the public name it, and it's Bodie McBoatface.
Yeah,
That's great. And Steve, I'm assuming it was some scientists had a little more involvement in this because it's at least acronyms. But yeah, Steve, that's
Oh.
great. You know, it's
That's my
Aurora
Pepe,
Borealis
Steve.
and Steve. Okay.
Well, that is
Yeah,
amazing. I did not know about Steve.
Yeah.
or his secret twin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is it an evil twin though? I bet it is.
It wasn't
Could be.
me. It must have been my evil twin.
Yeah, because nobody wants to get up in the morning to go see that stuff. They'll stay up till midnight though, and be like, "Yeah, Steve."
Is the evil twin like yellow? Is it like the complementary color?
Right.
No, it's purple. Also, it's just
It's like Where's
think
Waldo? But then the bad Waldo, it was Oswald or Oddlaw, and then he's yellow and black instead of red and white.
no, it's not a comic book character. It's it just does the same thing, but it's harder to see because it's right before the sunrise, so there's more light, so it's less visible.
It's diffused, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be in Norway, I guess, to really see it.
I think the thing I'm most fascinated about from this discussion is the
Mm-hmm.
concept of whether or not Where's Waldo is comic books.
Well, he's illustration for sure.
Yeah. Would it be a comic book?
Well, it's like an I Spy. I don't know.
Well,
He did,
it's
like, Album
it's a
covers.
book, and it's illustrated, so it's
It's graphic.
Yeah, but
yeah.
yeah, that's true.
I think it'd technically be considered a illustrated picture book, but
Okay.
it's in a very comic book style. So
Kinda.
I think Melanie's
comic
onto
book.
something here. It's
In my
close.
mind.
It's like a narrative there, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it depends on which version you get too, because there have been several different books, and some of them do have like an unfolding story throughout it, but I don't think they all do.
Yeah.
I can't think
Well,
of
and
what
then
his
they had the
actu-
cartoon.
There's a
did they?
cartoon.
Oh yeah, of course
Yeah.
they did.
Yep.
I can't
His
think of his
walking
original...
stick was magic, and he could go to different dimensions. And then you're like, "Where's Waldo?"
I think he's
He had a
only
walking
Waldo in
stick?
the States. I can't remember what his
He's
name
only
is.
Waldo in the States. He's Wally in the UK,
Wally.
and he's
Yep.
actually got a couple of different names throughout the world.
Wow,
Yeah.
Yep.
it's like
and
Santa.
you can they've done like I think like Japan had a huge Guinness World Record of people dressed up like Waldo, and then somebody else beat it, and yeah, it's crazy. He's famous.
I know I already did my science thing, but can I make one more mention real quick because it was also amazing to me. There in Yosemite, there's a wolf there that is 11 years old and just gave birth to her 10th round of pups, which in
Whoa.
itself is like a record for them. But she's also only has one eye, and they were like, for a dog to live that long and have pups, and she's still like the head of her pack. So it's pretty amazing. And I'm like, kudos to that dog. They did. I mean, she's not a dog; she's a wolf. But and her, I mean, they get her. It's like Z723. She doesn't really have a name, but that one-eyed wolf is amazing, and I applaud her.
Is that your spirit animal now?
There it is.
No,
Of all time.
I don't think my spirit animal is that majestic. I think it's more like, I don't know, like a sloth or maybe a hippo or something. I don't know.
I mean, she's only got one eye. How majestic can she?
Whoa, she's a pirate, dude. Come on.
Oh, you're right.
Oh.
She's awesome. She's awesome.
I do want to be a space pirate.
Space pirate wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although a space pirate sloth would be pretty cool too.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, keeping it under an hour. Anything else we want to mention before we jump out of here, guys? Jesse, got anything coming up or anything to shout out?
I mean, I'm going to be in some shows, but that's still a ways out. So
Okay.
I am starting to book myself up.
Paul, aka Moose, asked me, followed up with me, asked me about it again, and I declined. So originally, I was going to possibly in October play a music show. I was going to open for somebody, and I declined because we've been talking about it since like last October. I just don't think I'll be prepared, and I kind of need a laptop, and I can't really like. It's not like I'm going to be
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like I'm going to become a gigging, musician. I don't. So it'd be an expense that's purely like hobby expense, and a laptop's kind of an expensive hobby expense. So
Sure. Especially for what you'd need. You'd need something with a decent processor and good audio outputs, and yeah,
and a good amount of RAM, and when you're looking at laptops, it gets expensive. But
Especially when people are buying up all the NVIDIA chips and using them for
right
whatever.
for AI.
Yeah.
That's like the opposite of an announcement. That's like it's the opposite of a thing coming up.
yeah.
I
I think we alluded to the fact that, I think we alluded to the idea that maybe you were going to have some kind of announcement, and this is just like, I'd like to announce there are no announcements.
Yes!
After all.
That's right. I'd like to announce there are no announcements.
No.
All right. Well, hey.
Is there a Abyss show tomorrow?
Yeah. Edge of the Abyss tomorrow. Check it out at 8 Central till 10 p.m. 8 p.m. Central to 10 p.m. Central, or 9 to 11 Eastern, or whatever the other side of the country is, like 3 hours earlier or something crazy. Edge of the Abyss on Helix Rock Radio. rockradio.live. It's a streaming radio station. It's free. Edge of the Abyss, at least right now, has no ads, so it's free radio. And I'm going to be playing a whole bunch of... tomorrow will be requests and new releases, I think almost exclusively. I know there's some type of... I think Finnish folk metal song or something that's been waiting in the request queue. Yeah.
Fintroll.
I'll finally be playing that tomorrow.
All right.
And then a bunch of like new releases from this week, of course, like always, but also the last couple weeks since I missed them. If you like extreme metal, rockradio.live. And I'll have the replay up next week. So, yeah, that's what I got going
them.
Nice. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks, everybody, for listening. You can find more Grawlix Podcast at grawlixpodcast.com. Have a great night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.